It's good to be here. Good to see you again, Bethany.
Good morning.
So we have a topic to discuss. It's called Make Government Work. It's a committee that you're on along with 81 other Republicans and Democrats. There's a list of 9 different bills that you're trying to introduce to try to speed up the process, a more efficient form of government. The first one that I like is no budget, no pay. That's something that's been talked about for a while. But what really got my attention is number 9, the bill called Government Transformation. And basically what you're doing is, as lawmakers as a whole, basically auditing yourself. Is that what you believe will get to the root of the problem?
Well, if we want to make government more efficient, it's what we do in the private sector, is looking at programs. There are probably some programs that are outdated. Let's make them more efficient. Let's make sure they meet the needs of America today.
What makes you think that after all these centuries of having government, that we can come in, form a little committee, and right the ship?
Well, so right now, Congress isn't working. And, I joined a group called the Problem Solvers. I'm a co-chair of it. We started with 40 members of Congress, 23 Democrats, 17 Republicans. We're now up to 81. We've got 8 senators. And we've got to do something different in America. We've got to start legislating, and we've got to start moving this country forward, rebuilding jobs, getting America working again. And that conversation's not happening. So instead of relying on leadership to do it, this is a grassroots organization of men and women in Congress coming together, Democrats and Republicans, finding common ground and moving America forward.
Are they like yourself, a newly lawmaker in Washington? Because I imagine some of them, if they had been around for a while, how can they then now was once part of the problem, now coming in and saying, I'm going to help the problem? Are they new like you with this group?
I'd say about half of them are freshmen like myself, folks that just got fed up and wanted to see Congress do something different and decided to run. So we've come together. But the folks that have been around for a long time saying it wasn't this bad 15 or 20 years ago. You could set aside partisan differences and find common ground.
So do you feel hopeful at this point? And within that group, what kinds of conversations have come up so far?
Yeah, so one of the bills that I worked on came up over dinner with another member, with Chris Gibson, who's a Republican from New York. It's the 21st Century Healthcare for Heroes bill. I'm a doctor. He's an Army veteran. The Department of Defense and the VA medical records don't communicate with one another. It makes no sense to me. Let's make this efficient. Let's make it work for our men and women in their active duty military as well as our veterans. It's just common sense.
Let's talk about some of the questions that are coming up on our Facebook page. We sent it out to our viewers, wanted to get their feedback. And something that's come up time and time again is pay for our government officials. A lot of people saying, well, maybe we should cut back on what we're paying our leaders. What do you think about that?
Well, we've frozen our salaries. I electively am giving back 8.2% of my salary because of sequestration. That's hurting the American public. So, this afternoon I'm going to, make my July payment to a veterans center. So I think we should look at everything. And again, that 9th bill that you talked about is doing a self-audit, looking at what's working, what's not working, and making sure we're good stewards of the taxpayers' resources.
We're running out of time here, but people would say, more bills, more laws. How is more going to help when we already have too much? But I guess in your mind, specifically focused on fixing something, these bills would be acceptable.
Well, and again, it's not always about more. It's looking at some of the laws that exist and say, hey, these are outdated. Let's get rid of them. Right, so it's a trade-off.
Maybe replacing them versus adding on to them.
Replacing or removing.
Or just eliminating altogether.
Sure.
All right, thanks for coming in this morning. Nice chatting with you.
Thank you for having me back.
Let's get over to Darren Peck now for a look at your weekend.